A classic always has a special place in the history of ballet. We present a scene from Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake.
Barry is a show about addiction. After finishing the 4-season run of Bill Hader's dark comedy, my partner asked the watch party we were hosting what their favorite moment of the series was. We had this.
Jesus, Berkman, you got him!
Or that. And how could we forget this one?
If I suck balls, you are king of suck balls mountain!
Shut the fuck up.
These clips really do the work of showcasing that Bill Hader never wanted to stray too far from the uncanny or the terrifying elements of comedy. It's what makes the repetitious violence all the better when we get to it, or just the subject of the uncoolness of violence all the more clear. Barry is a tonal balancing act. Its drama and tragedy and comedy are so Shakespearean that it's almost too on the nose, encapsulating the essence of Macbeth's final soliloquy.
Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Barry is interesting in that it's a piece of art that perceives other artists. I often think of art that depicts artists when I consider Edgar Degas. Edgar Degas was a French Impressionist painter, and if you've seen an oil painting of a woman bathing, working, or dancing, then you've probably seen a Degas piece. He was a painter of workers, but also a painter unafraid to depict artists as workers. It's funny because these days I think a lot of people are struggling to understand that concept. The Degas pieces I find the most haunting and tragic are The Star and The Absinthe Drinker. The Absinthe Drinker is a portrait of the real-life actor Ellen Andre. She would also pose for the painter Manet. A woman with a pale face and wide eyes sits at a counter with a small glass of liqueur. Her clothes are plain and her face is haunted in its emotionlessness. The scene is the exhalation, an aftermath of something unpainted and therefore non-existent. But what's even worse is the implication of mundanity. Reoccurrence tells us the off-screen turmoil will happen again.
I just really need to be alone right now, please.
And again.
My story! You don't even have a fucking daughter!
Neither do you, Sally.
And then there will be this. Apparently this painting was a real scandal at the time, because, she should smile more and drink less. Equally dark and even more surreal is The Star. A ballerina balances on one leg. Her dress is white as her strange and surreal pale skin that is dotted with bright cheeks bordering on pink and how red they are. She's made mythological by the act of her dance, and despite how uncanny she looks, if you've had a moment like this through an achievement or your own art, then you know exactly how she feels. In the corner of the painting, encroaching on this scene, are a series of brushstrokes that are jagged, violent, an orange that does not fit the rest of the color scheme and gives the implication of fire, or an unfinished painting. Below these jagged edges are a pair of legs dressed in beige and fine brown. The shoes look nice too. This is probably her handler, or her pimp. Degas never shied away from painting the beautiful and otherworldly, as still limited and exhaustible. The life of the ballerinas Degas painted were treacherous and difficult. Their bodies were sold visually on the stage and presented as pure, but behind the curtain there was an entire life of sedition, prostitution, and abuse. It was horrifying, but was understood to be the way of the world for these women. The fact that Degas had the audacity to paint them, even in rest, faced major backlash from art critics for what they deemed as salacious and degenerate. I and others see it as a testament to his art. Barry is often making claims that actors and soldiers and addicts are analogous to one another. The combination of all these traits comes through similarly to the idea of Degas and his ballerinas. The scene is set like this, an ecosystem where an addiction can thrive. The actor and the soldier and the addict in the world of Barry do what they do because they crave fulfillment and acknowledgement. They are all one and the same. They risk themselves for this fulfillment, and the situations that generate their desires are at a conditional and sadistic rate or price. Even when they remove themselves from the situation, they find themselves relapsing, unable to escape. If the world found out about this situation, they would surely try to dismantle it, right? Well, not always. See, some believe that this is the natural order of things. And also, they have something to gain. The ballerina really kicks ass. She's amazing, untouchable. If the ballet and the theater and the systems in place that perpetuate her pain and adulation do not exist, then the object we consume cannot exist. Barry is a murderer, and he's scary good at it. It's why Barry gets injured, but he's never shot until, well, he is. Also, do you ever wonder if this...
Oh, wow.
...is a reference to this? Back on point, though. Barry often finds himself saying and promising...
Starting now.
This sentiment echoes an individual who's relapsing. There's relief at just having taken one more hit, with the promise that it'll never happen again. And the people around him, fellow ballerinas in this dance, often attempt to reaffirm this notion of finally quitting, but they too cannot help that they're addicted to the performance of their own vices. And the sad part is that for nearly all of them, there could have been escape or redemption. Unfortunately, they all only find this happiness in a moment, a picture of sorts. And all we can hope is that Sally and Barry's son finds a way out, but it's unclear from that final frame whether that's a possibility or he inherits his parents' addictions. Thank you.